This week, I'm bringing you the recap from the premiere episode of Biggest Loser, courtesy of the BL Resort. This week, Biggest Loser didn't go bigger this season, they went wider. And wider is in all across America. They hit up a bunch of cities in different places, and in those cities they pulled up 3 contestants from each group, and they had them compete for a spot on the ranch. When you start out with the orange team, in Detroit, Michigan, you get some great contestants up there. And orange, well, I have to say I'm a little biased. It's my color. But some great people got up there and they had a step challenge to get to 500 steps. And the first 2 people that did it got on the ranch. Let me tell you, those 500 steps are extremely difficult, especially when you're weighing in as much as these contestants are weighing in, and especially when you haven't been active for so long. Watching Aaron, I was definitely reminiscent to my first days on the ranch and how tough it is to be that big and to be fighting for your life, and yet you feel like you've given it your all and it's not enough. Sophia and her loss and just everything that was happening there, I totally relate, and it can be so difficult to just continue on with your life when someone close to you has passed away. And really, I think the great thing about this challenge was that they had to compete for a spot on the ranch. It wasn't just about luck. It wasn't some behind-the-scenes person picking people. It really was them getting up there and showing what they were made of and what they were able to do and do it. The other thing is I love that Bob had that pep talk at the end with Aaron, because those talks with Bob are priceless. Having those few moments with him, and he always finds this way to dig at your soul and inspire you. And I have no doubt that Aaron will be able to make a change in his life, because now he's seen what he's doing, he's recognized it, and he's put it out there, and he's deciding to change it. And I think that's great. From Detroit, they went on to LA, my hometown. And Jillian looked like she was going to get blown away in the wind. It was such a windy day there down at Santa Monica Beach where they were. And, it was wonderful to see all the people that turned out and the 3 contestants that came up. Adam Hurtado, he's someone from Orange County right here, which I thought was awesome. And then you had Ada and Montina. And Montina is gorgeous, isn't she? She's going to be even more gorgeous when this is all over. But they were going to form the blue team, and they competed again in a 2-mile step challenge. And to see who came out on top, Adam and Ada both won their spots on the ranch. During the challenge, Montina started to have some pain in her knee, and she pretty much almost collapsed. And I thought it was so inspiring that the crowd started to cheer her on. Her husband and her son got up there to finish with her. And really, that's what it's about in Biggest Loser. It's not necessarily about coming in first. It's about finishing and taking that step to change your life. And I really do think that she'll be able to do it at home as well. And so here's the first challenge to those people at home. Get out there and do it. Don't be so set on the ranch. Don't worry about what's going to happen at the ranch. Make your own choices at home. It doesn't have to be as fast or as intense, but you can do it just as well at home. I promise. It's possible. The next team that they head out to find was in Portland, Oregon, the purple team. And there they had Corey, and they had Burgundy, and they had Tina. And they had to run a mile. And I thought that was just very familiar, since we had to run a mile the first day of our season. And let me tell you, oh my gosh, you think running a mile is not a big deal, but if you have never run a mile, or you hadn't run a mile since high school PE fitness test, it is extremely tough. It takes everything you have out of you. During the mile, Corey pretty much fell on the ground. I mean, you could hear the pain. It was so painful, and he hit the ground so hard. He got up, he wanted to keep trying, he was only 20 yards from the finish line, and he fell again. And it was just really, really clear that that is what can happen. It definitely reminded me of Tracy, and seeing, the pain that she was going through and what happened to her in just that mile, and she was so close to the finish line as well. It's amazing how that happens, and amazing how it keeps happening to the purple teams. But again, the fact that he was cared for by Dr. Huizinga, our doctor on the show, and Sandy, our medic, I know he was well taken care of, and I know that he'll be able to realize that this was a wake-up call for him, and he can get his life on track. After Portland, they head down south to Atlanta, and there they're looking for the green team. They pull up 3 contestants, Patrick, Anna, and Rick. And Anna's story, completely heartbreaking. You can almost tell why she would turn to, a gallon of ice cream versus anything else. But in this one, they have to run a mile. Okay. For this one, they also have to run a mile. And they set out, and from the very beginning, Anna is left in behind. The lone horse is Patrick. The lone horse is Rick. He takes off. He passes all of them, and I love what he says. It's about the heart, not the age. And it's so true. It's about the heart, not the weight. It's about the heart, whatever. What you put into this journey is what you get out. And Rick showed that he was putting everything into this journey. He may be the one to beat, because that man took that challenge and ran with it, literally. Unfortunately, Anna was the one who didn't finish the mile. And as you watch, Jillian was pulling her and pushing her and trying to do everything she could. But I think the reality is that when someone can't find that strength within themselves, when someone has buried all of that goodness of them so deep with pain, it takes a lot to drag it out. And it takes a lot more than one day. And I think she's going to get there and she's going to make it. I just think it's going to take some time. But I really do hope for the best for her, and really do hope that she's able to find that courage and that strength within to persevere, because I know she would want to live a healthy and happy life in her son's honor. After the green team, they head over to Phoenix, Arizona, where red obviously is a color because it's blazing hot there. You can tell how hot everyone is. And the contestants that they pull from there are Jessica, Mark, and Shanna. Shanna's story... The contestants they pull from there is The contestants they pull from there are Jessica, Mark, and Shanna. Jessica's obviously the feisty brunette this season. There's usually one pretty much every season, but Jessica, definitely, you can already tell she is not going to be one to take any BS. And I wouldn't be surprised if she put some definite challenges out there for the rest of the BL contestants. Shanna's story of surviving breast cancer definitely hit home for me this week, as I had a personal loss in my life to breast cancer. And the fact that she's a survivor, you really can tell that she's a fighter and she's willing to go all the way. And I think it's amazing that she can be on this platform to share with all of you out there about breast cancer and the link to obesity. The link is huge, and we have to do something literally in order to reduce that. And by losing weight, you reduce your risk of breast cancer. So it's something we definitely need to do, and I'm so proud of Shanna for taking this step and doing this and stepping up for this community that isn't often talked about in the obesity range or in obesity community, but it's something that absolutely needs to be addressed. In this challenge, our red team winds up being Jessica and Mark, who finished the race first, and they're headed to the ranch. In Oklahoma City, you've got the pink team. Danny Cahill brings out Bob for the challenge, and they do a 500-step challenge. The contestants for the Oklahoma City pink team are Allie, Lisa, and Sandy. I get a lot of questions about weight loss surgery, and I think Allie's story is a testament of just how I feel and why, even at 476 pounds, I decided not to do weight loss surgery. The fact is you can change the physical anatomy of your body, but it doesn't change what's going on up here. And if you're a food addict or you're dealing with issues with food, you're an emotional eater, just because your stomach is smaller or realigned, it's not going to change that relationship you have with food and why you overeat and why you're becoming overweight. And the truth is you can just continue to become overweight. I know people who have had the surgery, lost all their weight, and then gained half or more back, and that's so unhealthy. So just for Allie sharing her story, I think it's great for America to see that A, it's possible to do it on your own. It's great for America to see, because you've already seen that you can do it on your own. But now with Allie's story, you can see that even with a surgery, it may not be the best way for you to reach your goals. In this challenge, Allie and Lisa make it onto the ranch and they earn their spots. Sandy, unfortunately, is staying home, and you know, it's a sad thing because Sandy lost her brother and who had tried out for the show. But I think she definitely had a wake-up call in knowing that you can't wait for the show. America, sitting at home, you can't wait for the show. 300 people now have been on The Biggest Loser. 3 out of 4 Americans are overweight. So the chances of you getting on the show are not the biggest chances in the world. You probably have a better chance of winning the lottery. But the reality is you can make these changes at home and you can do them on your own. And we're here to help you. The very last city that they stop in is Boston. And you have Mark Kruger who comes up, and he looks phenomenal, doesn't he? From season 5, he looks great. And he gets up there, and they do this Boston Challenge with Jillian. And the Boston Challenge is a step challenge as well. And you have the 3 contestants for the black team. You have the 3 contestants for the black team, Fredo, Elizabeth, and Brendan. And Elizabeth's story is one that I know very well as a social worker. You have these women who are in abusive relationships and literally feel so ugly on the inside. They start to do things on the outside that match their inside. And for Elizabeth, that was eating. And you really see that she kind of created this cocoon around herself for safety in such a volatile situation. And it's very hard, but I'm so glad that she's brought to light this problem that, you know, even though this happened to her, she's taking charge of her life again. She's going to have a lot of emotional growth to do. It is very difficult to come from an abusive relationship and then to go on and be a healthy and normal and happy person. You really do have to go through a lot of things emotionally to get there. And I'm sure, you know, most people get into those type of relationships. There's something else going on in their life before where they don't feel adequate enough either. And the thing is that I can see that in her. She's a beautiful girl. And absolutely, I think it is totally possible for her to lose the weight. But I think the most important thing for her is going to be able to feel that beauty on the inside. And I definitely think she can do it. So those are your teams. Everyone's headed to the ranch. But then, of course, in true Biggest Loser fashion, Bob and Jillian tell the contestants who were left behind in their cities that there's always a twist. There's always something. I have a feeling some of those people are going to be fighting their way onto the ranch. So watch out, all of you who think your spot is secure on the ranch. Nothing is ever secure in Biggest Loser. Nothing guarantees your spot there. Not even losing 17 pounds in 1 week. Not even losing 100 pounds and breaking a record. The reality is that it's a game. And even though you may be there just for your life and to save your life, some people, they play the game. So you never know, and there's always a twist, so be looking out for what that twist is to come. Some of those previews of the upcoming clips, I couldn't believe it. It looks like Bob totally loses it again this season, and not to mention, Bob is one of the nicest guys in the world, so it takes a lot to push him to that edge. I'm just horrified that it's an orange team. Don't you know we do not disrespect Bob? But hey, who knows what's going on, and a lot of emotional things fly around in that house, so it looks like a super intense season, lots of things going on, and I cannot wait to see how it turns out. You can tune in with me every week. I'm going to be Twittering live, I'm going to be Facebooking live, and we can talk about the episodes. Post your questions here, I'll try and get to them and answer them as quick as possible. And again, every week I will be here giving you your recap, and all of it is courtesy of the Biggest Loser Resort.